Kamui, you're not sure how you know, but you know. The parts of your mind still functioning may be fewer, but they are strong and dedicated. You enter into the lockdown portion of the computer. Files labeled the Digital Soul Project flash across your screen. A series of pseudo-scientific experiments and hypotheses that posit the existence of a human soul could be proved by its absence. Glancing at the overview, several methods are listed with success, failure, or unknown.
Flash cloned with host psyche and memories. Failure. Flash cloned with artificial psyche and memories. Failure. Flash cloned with no psyche and memories. Failure. Transfer of brain into artificial host. Success. Artificial insemination. Success. Bonding of several host brains. Unknown. Artificially augmenting non-sentient host. Unknown. Replacing failing portions of the brain over time. Unknown.
You, Kamui, you suppose, don't have time to understand what criteria counts as a success for the experiment. Glancing through the files, you see a name you recognize. Alcazan. It seems he was the head of these insane experiments, or had been at least. Scanning as quickly as you can for some keyword to save Alice, to save you all, you can't help but notice the deterioration in the quality and clarity of his notes, until they become basically incoherent.
I don't have time to analyze the diary of a mad scientist. I need an answer.
Quite suddenly, the next set of notes return to the previously clinical style of writing. You don't allow yourself to ponder this as you search frantically for the information you need.
Alice?
Her name finally appears.
Cloned with artificial psyche and memories. Failure. The original Alice being created through artificial insemination and grown in an artificial womb, but being allowed to otherwise grow at a standard rate, displayed all markers for complete personhood and possession of a soul. However, after her death, an attempt was made to flash clone her body at maturity, given fabricated memories and personality. For reasons I cannot yet explain, this flash-grown Alice clone lacks enough markers designating the existence of a soul.
Alice doesn't have a soul? A dead brain in a box doesn't get to decide who does and doesn't have a soul.
The report continued.
Further testing is needed to see if a certain permutation or alteration will yield different results. While continuous memory must not be allowed to contain subsequent versions, a baseline version of learning and improvement will be applied to the core personality, in hopes that a human soul can be produced. Strict control over changes to core personality stored in A Digital Soul Project's artificial psyche Alice Core Psych must be maintained at all times.
Got you.
You say with a grunt, as you frantically henpeck the letters with a wounded left hand, desperate to save Alice. Her breathing begins to slow. It grows more ragged with each shaky exhale. You cannot bear to look away from the screen. You have to stay focused. You can't spare even a moment or... You finally tear your eyes away from the screen. Alice isn't moving. She hasn't been for some time. Your hands drop to your sides. You have done all you can. All that's left is for you to leave this room, and the lifeless corpse of the woman you let die twice in as many hours. You finish typing your command on the screen, and then navigate to the door controls. You unlock them all, not just the room you're in, but every room in the building. All but one. You need a head start on the madman with a gun. You can only pray that Mr. Bultitude will survive the experience. You take a glance at the floor map to confirm your destination, then walk through the door and down the stark white hallway. It's time for this to end for good. No more puzzles, no more tests, just you and the man behind it all.
Alcazan.
You pass through the twisting and turning rooms. You walk past what looks like a replica of a Victorian noble lady's room. The next room of note contains a chair with a revolver held in place near a head-shaped cage. An army of mice in strict formation scurry past you and back towards the rooms you left.
Perhaps opening every door without looking to see what horrors were kept here wasn't exactly the right move.
You grimace to yourself.
Oh well. Maybe a group of zombies, Franken monsters, and militarized mice will cause some sort of police to raid this hellhole.
That would be someone else's problem. Your final problem is waiting through the next door. You reach for the handle, pause, and mutter a quick prayer, and then push through, and come face to face with a man with pale white skin, long blonde hair, clean-shaven face, a slim but muscular build, blue eyes, a strong jaw, and high cheekbones.
Kamui,
The overseer says, with a sort of weary cordiality from behind his desk. He wears a brown suit that doesn't quite fit him in either size or style. You imagine it suiting a man triple his age.
it's over, isn't it?
You nod and approach the man, taking a seat before the great administrative desk.
This has to end now, Alka-san.
You say. You have the instinct to thread your fingers before the man, but with 3 still missing on the left side, that is no longer possible.
I suppose you're right.
The overseer says with a forlorn droop in both body and voice.
You feel it too, don't you? The hole in your being where a soul should be?
You frown and think on that. You're not sure if you're experiencing the same sort of thing he is, but you do know that your mind is dying. Was that the same thing as a soul? When at last your mind dies, will you feel the same thing the overseer does? Will you even be alive enough to question such things?
All of us left are the same,
The overseer says, bringing a glass of whiskey to his lips and taking a long, slow sip.
We're missing something fundamental to the human condition.
He sets down the glass. You notice his fingers are trembling.
You showed the most promise early on. I thought with enough effort we could find a way. I, or rather the real Alka-san, worked for decades.
The overseer slumps onto his desk, holding his golden hair in his hands before turning bloodshot eyes to look at you.
He saw me for the failure I am. He was going to destroy me. Without a soul. I knew that without a soul, death would be the end of me. I couldn't stand the thought of the oblivion that awaited me.
So you put his brain in a box and then tried to get me to electrocute him?
You grimace, thinking about how your short existence has been nothing but a series of horrific violence and emotional torment. He looks at you with something between resignation and amusement.
Now I know there are fates worse than death. Even a final and total oblivion would be preferable to existing as an odious monstrosity devoid of essential humanity. Isn't that right, Alka-san?
Don't call me that.
You turn around, realizing the overseer isn't speaking to you anymore, but instead to the crazed clone with a gun pointed at him. You let out a small sigh of relief as you see Mr. Bultitude cowering behind him. A small, thin crack lines the side of the dome that protects his brain, but he seems otherwise unharmed.
You know better than anyone that we're not him.
He moves forward, gun still extended toward his near mirror image.
That's the exact problem, can't you see?
The overseer almost pleads.
Rotten as it was, the real Alka-san had a soul. He was a man.
The clone scoffs and spits to the side. Inhuman evil flaring, pulling inwards from the iris to the voids where pupils should be.
What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets. What good is a soul if you waste it away along with a dying body?
He cocks his head to the side and lets slip a ravenously malevolent smile.
Alka-san had a soul. What good did it do him? I'm better off without one, and you're better off dead. Wait, stop!
You move towards him, but before you can get more than a step, he's fired his weapon into the Overseer. The man clutches his chest, and his fine brown suit begins to sprout crimson as he stumbles and falls over.
You will see?
He gasps, crawling on the ground towards you and the clone.
You think you can stand it?
He begins to cough up blood as he continues to crawl towards you.
But the emptiness will grow. You will see.
He collapses to the floor, unable to keep moving mere feet from you. The clone of Alcazan rolls his eyes and walks around you to get to his older other. He growls before viciously stomping his foot down and crushing the Overseer's head.
No gods. No masters.
He half snarls and half laughs through gritted teeth. You turn to face him, working up the courage to face what you know you must.
You're wrong.
He looks up at you, twitchy, as if having to hold back his own body from immediately responding with violence. You take the lack of a bullet through your brain as a sign to continue.
Like you, I've not really been alive long. That short time has been full of horror and evil and darkness. But I've seen real good too. Alice is good. Boltitude is good. That wrongness we all feel, it makes it seem like nothing matters. But how would we know that it feels wrong unless deep in our hearts we knew things could be right?
The rabbit clone rolls his eyes and holds up the gun to you.
Stop talking,
He says in the exact same way he did to Alice. You shiver, but whisper a prayer and hold your ground.
You've only got 2 bullets left.
You say, holding his gaze.
There's only 2 of you left.
He says, rage twisting on his face. You take one last deep breath and let it out.
Then I'll just have to make sure. You need both to take me down!
You dash forward, both fists out, in a raised attack on the clone. You dash forward, both fists out in a crazed attack on the clone. Pain rips through you before you register the crack of the fired bullet. You've already committed to see this through no matter what. True fear seeps through the hellfire in the clone's eyes as you continue your charge. He freezes, unsure if he should fire again or not as you tackle. No part of your fractured mind has any real experience in grappling or hand-to-hand combat, but at this point, it doesn't matter. You tackle him to the ground and begin to wail on his face, your hands aching nearly as much as the wound in your chest from the gunshot. You slam your fists on him again, and again, and again, not daring to stop until the adrenaline does. Another shot goes off and you feel the world go dark, your head flung backwards. As if only feeling the echoes of your own body, you fly back and feel yourself crumple to the ground.
I win.
You whisper to yourself as you hear the dog growl in the distance. It may be a Pyrrhic victory. You may not live to see a reward, but that insane clone isn't going to get his way.
Will I exist in the next life? Or will my death free the 17 who made me up? Let them finally reach their own rest.
These thoughts slowly swim into the darkness as it takes you. And finally, find rest.